Happy Mercury Day. Let me see if I can play some background music as y'all come on in. I have this on my mind heavy. Got a lot of things on my mind. It's not anything bad, but yeah. Definitely coming off of this full moon. Okay. This is the one. How are y'all on this Mercury evening as you come in? Don't forget to tap the screen. Let's see. This might be it. Hey, Imani. You ready to come in, child? I got a nap in. I'm still a little tired, so a little sleepy. But I always would love to have you on, but I don't want to wear you out too. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. I put all these symbols in the title. Imani, I'm just gonna send you an invite. You can come in whenever you want to, but I put all these symbols in the title because we're talking about all the aspects today. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good stuff.
Thank you for joining. So we're talking about a lot of the aspects today, especially square. So I got the square up, but I just put up the full moon while we're coming in. So I can't really show it. There it is. We're going to start with the square aspect because we have a lot of aspects to talk about. We have sextiles, oppositions, trines, conjunctions, literally everything happening right now. Literally everything. The sun was just opposing the moon, which created the full moon in Sagittarius, and literally right before I turned this on, we had the moon moving to Capricorn now, which is my moon. But yeah, we're gonna get into in this Mercury hour. Just want to show everybody that I'm a little prepared today, just a little bit prepared. And in 1 minute, so this is a screenshot from 5 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. It's 22:04. It's 10:04, so it's Mercury hour right now, y'all. So happy Mercury Day, happy Mercury hour. I want to start off with this message right here. Of course, y'all can't read it, so I put this on Facebook the other day. This is Let's Play a Game. I'm gonna stop the music for a second. Let's play a game. This was for Mars Day, so we took action on it. But who can hold their head high and speak positive intentions into the universe to manifest abundance? Who can do this today and every day? So I got really positive feedback with this, so I want to keep it going today and every day. Always hold your head high. Always think positive so you can manifest positive and abundance, especially with Jupiter and Cancer. I just wanted to start off with that. But yes, this is a little while ago too because the moon just moved into Capricorn a minute ago. You can see it's 29 degrees in Sagittarius a little while ago, which is the last degree of every sign. And now it is in 0 degrees of Capricorn, which makes it oppose Jupiter 0 degrees of Capricorn. So talking about all the aspects. I'm just showing y'all as you all come in. Thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you, Imani, especially for being here. We're going to get into a lot tonight, Imani, and you're going to have hopefully a lot of input because I'm trying to be a little bit more organized today. But I just lost it. The aspects. There we go. So we got Moon trine Mars. That's because the moon was in Sagittarius and the trines happened from the element sign. So the Mars is in Leo in the last degree. We'll talk about the degrees when I show the background. We have this one. We're going to talk about moon opposing Jupiter, which is happening right now with the moon in 0 degrees of Capricorn, fresh off the full moon of Sagittarius. That was happening at 21 degrees. And we have it opposing 0 degrees of Jupiter because Jupiter just moved into Cancer a few days ago. And we have these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 squares we got to talk about. 5, 2, 3, 4 squares, we got to talk about 5, 6. I don't know if y'all can see all those squares. You see all those squares, Imani?
Not really. I see like the edge of them. Not really. I see like the edge of them.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it a little bit. I'm going to talk about all the squares at once. We have Moon square Saturn because the moon again was in Sagittarius square Saturn in, I'm sorry, the moon is in Capricorn now. Square another cardinal sign, Saturn and Aries. We have the moon square Neptune. The moon in Capricorn again is squaring Neptune. So like there's a lot of Cancer and Capricorn energy squaring everything in Aries, especially Saturn and Neptune. That would be the Jupiter square Neptune as well as Saturn square Neptune. Which is at the very bottom. I don't know if you can see it. And then we have these another trine, Mars in Leo, trine in Chiron and Aries. We literally have everything going. There's nothing to leave out. Mercury, let's do the good ones. Mercury in Cancer right now is sextile in Venus in Taurus. The sextiles are compatible. We literally have every aspect going on. Let's talk about it. Let me take this down and let's get to it. Let's get to the main ones and something I thought would be a good topic to tie it into with all these aspects. If I can remember how to take this off again. There we go. Bam. Okay. So, and my light is a little dim too. How does that look? It's a little blurry now, but okay. Anyway, so speaking of the degrees, we got Jupiter in 0 degrees. We got Mercury in 6 degrees. So they're in the lower degrees of Cancer, the first beacon we call it. We have Saturn in 1 degree, and they're all red, which means they're all cardinal signs. So we have cardinal water right here for Cancer, and we have cardinal fire for Aries. Saturn and Neptune in 2 degrees. And we have, because I only have 1 0, we have the moon also in the cardinal degree of Capricorn in 0 degrees. So we're going to start right there with these squares. I put the square in the middle, and you have to excuse me, I had to use a generic one that I just made. But yeah, so the topic that we touched on this a little bit on Monday, and thank y'all for the ones who came in through Monday. We got 4 people here. Thank y'all. Let me move this so I can see the comments for being here. If you're not following me, please follow and tap and like the screen. All right. So we're talking about what's going on currently. So we started a little bit on Moon Day talking about it. Didn't want to go too deep into it, but it's kind of hard to hit and miss right now. So one thing that one second, y'all. I just lost my page. One thing that is going on, of course, is the LA rise. So we touched that a little bit, and it's still going on. And it's starting in other areas of the country. So I really wanted to touch on this a little bit, but not too much, but basically about the full moon that we just came off of. Full moon is about releasing, and we really want to release some things with this kind of energy. So Sagittarius is not as tough as full moons again, like in Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Virgo. Not too emotional, not too overbearing, but it is still a release. So Sagittarius represents beliefs, truths, higher learning, spirituality and religion. And some of those things are just not serving us any purpose anymore. So with that, oh my goodness, where am I on the screen right now? With that, I want to tie in the squares that are happening right now between Jupiter at 0 degrees and Saturn and Neptune. So we're talking about your Cancer houses for all the rising signs and your Aries houses. So I literally just had this ready and now I lost it again. I don't know what is going on. We don't have Mercury retrograde for a long time. Maybe like another month. Imani, you there? You put yourself on mute. Give me one second, y'all.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I put myself on mute because I was eating ice.
Oh, child. It's hot. What's the weather down there?
It's nice. It's been raining a lot, but it ain't rain today, but it's nice.
Well, it's not like scorching hot. It was like 80. Like, I didn't go outside much, and that's why. On top of the full moon wearing me out, I was just worn out by the heat. You know how it is. Even though I'm near the water, still can get humid. All right. I found it. So, release the system and govern thyself. So, Aries energy is about self, right? Your identity, your self-awareness, self-governing, self-love, anything that has to do with self and just, your body, your headset, your mindset. And coming off of this full moon in Sagittarius, there's a lot, first of all, because it's still Gemini season. Fire moons are inspirational. Gemini suns can be, like we talked about, very gossipy, very loud, very talkative, very communicative, very tricky too, for lack of better words. So the sky is loud tonight. Like I said, we have aspects in almost every aspect there can be with all these planets and where they're placed right now in degrees. So Jupiter just entered Cancer, like I said, 2 days ago, and it started clashing right away with Saturn and Neptune because they're all in between 0, 1, and 2 degrees of each other. So we also not only have that, we have planets that are close in degrees at the end of the degrees, which is 27, 28, 29, 26 as well. So we have Chiron at 26 degrees. It is more of in a trine with Mars because they're fire signs, Aries and Leo. So if you can see, Mars is in 27 degrees of Leo, getting ready to leave Leo very soon. And Chiron is in 26 degrees of Aries. So that is a trine. But Uranus is at 28 degrees, and they're both yellow, which means they're both the same modality. They're both fixed signs, Leo and Taurus. So they're having a square. Square is conflict. Okay, so we have the squares going on in Aries and Cancer, and we have the squares going on in Taurus and Leo, and we're going to touch on those houses for every rising sign tonight. We're going to talk about your Sagittarius house for the full moon, and Venus and Pluto having their square off too. So all the fixed signs except Scorpio sitting up there, chilling. You want Scorpio to chill, are having square offs. All the cardinal signs except Libra and Capricorn. Well, now Capricorn has joined the party because the moon just went there. So Scorpio and Libra are chilling while the cardinals and the fixed signs are having square offs. Okay. The mutable signs are chilling other than the full moon in Sagittarius. So we got a lot to talk about. The mutable signs can, tune in, of course. Everybody could tune in. But pay attention, mutable signs, to the Sagittarius full moon information. Pay attention, fixed signs, to the squares as well as cardinal signs. So let's get into it. Let's start with Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer, square. So they're both in, Mercury is also, but it's a little bit faster, so it's moving closer to the second decan. Mercury is also part of this square off. Jupiter, Mercury in Cancer, square Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So release fear and trust yourself more than the system is the theme for this part. So the ultimate test, do you believe you will take care of yourself with Aries energy about self? Or do you know what home has to offer? Because Cancer is talking about home. It's also about, do you know your own source with Aries? So let's break this down by rising signs. All right. I had the houses, but for some reason, I don't know why I didn't save, but we're going to keep going. You know why? Because I was on docs. That's why, y'all. I got it together. All right. So starting with Aries, and then Imani, of course, chime in whenever, but if you are coming in, please leave your rising sign. We're talking about the square off. So square, again, is conflict. There's definitely conflict in the energy right now in the world. And what we're talking about for Aries placements, for Cancer placements, or cardinal placements, Capricorn, Libra, especially, the energy is felt for the cardinal signs with this conflict. So Aries, rising signs, you have Cancer in the fourth house, and you have Aries in the third house. I'm sorry, Aries in the first house. So we're talking about Aries risings, where your Cancer and Aries signs are. So of course, Aries risings have first house, and that would be identity shifts. Okay, so what kind of conflict is going on with identity shifts? With having Saturn and Neptune there, the planet of discipline and the planet of illusion, and then, or spirituality even. And then we have your third house for Cancer, Aries. Is that right? Fourth house, I'm sorry. Fourth house for Cancer, with that being about home. So what kind of conflict might there be at home for Aries risings going on? Thank you for the dove. Hey, TT. TT was here the other day. Welcome back. And we're going to your sign, your rising sign right now, TT. Okay. So we'll move on, but Aries risings, that's for you. We'll come back to you when we go into the full moon and talking about the fixed signs too, squaring off. So we're talking about the squares, the conflicts for Taurus rising now. TT, you're up. Mindsets. So Taurus risings have Cancer in the third house and Aries in the 12th house. Okay. I can't really point to the houses here because I'm Libra rising, so this is all based on these Roman numerals around here based on where I have. We'll get to Libra risings in about 6 more signs. So Taurus risings, you have Aries in the third house. So that's the house of knowledge. That's the Gemini house. Information, mindset. So something is conflict with your mind. TT, let me know if I'm right about that. With having Jupiter and Mercury in the Cancer house, which is your third house. Then for Aries, you have subconscious fears going on because the 12th house is the subconscious house. Possibly. TT, what do you think about that? My son is a Taurus rising, and I do know that he's getting his mindset together for, us changing homes again, us taking care of the home we're in now until we're moving to another home. Third house, Aries moon. Okay, so you have Aries moon in your third house too right now. Well, the moon is in Capricorn, but it would be squaring right now because the moon is in Capricorn right now, your Aries moon. And we're not talking about Gemini yet. We're going to talk about it soon, but we're talking about where you have Cancer in the third house because Jupiter's there right now. You have Mercury in the third house because as a Taurus rising, you about to say something, Imani? Gemini. Maybe you meant the second house is Gemini. Are you a Gemini sun? No. Yeah, you're a Gemini sun. That's probably what he meant. She meant. She meant. Yeah. Her rising is in the first house. Her Aries moon is in the 12th house. And that's a tough place to have it too. My daughter has an Aries moon. Aries moons are super impulsive. How do you deal with that? And then the Gemini sun. The Gemini sun, I'm getting ready to go to Gemini rising, so you might want to listen to that too. The communication and the information coming in right now is potent. I was wondering why, because I don't have but 1 to 2 mutable placements. That's Sagittarius, Mercury Sagittarius, and Neptune Sagittarius. And I'm still overwhelmed with the Gemini Sagittarius axis right now. How are you doing? All right. So that's about it for Taurus risings. Gemini risings, you have Cancer in the second house and Aries in the 11th house. So Gemini risings, you believe your values are having some kind of, and I'm thinking of my daughter too, and what she values, she's a Gemini rising. You understand a little overwhelmed as well. Yeah, it's like the Gemini energy with Mercury being the ruler, and it just left Mercury in Gemini. We're in Mercury in Cancer now, but when it was there, plus Jupiter just leaving Gemini season right now. I mean, the information is overwhelming, and it's still coming in. It's still coming in, and now it's like we're all squaring off. We're all conflicting about all the information we got. How you think about that? And that's kind of what we're talking about now. Like, Cancer has to do with home, and Aries has to do with self. What kind of conflicts are you having with yourself and your home situation right now? So even as a Gemini sun, even though we're talking about Gemini rising, what home values might be switching up or having some conflict or something that needs to be worked out, and what subconscious, I'm sorry, for Gemini rises, what future dreams, because that's the 11th house. And Gemini rises, second house will be the value house, the Taurus house. I bet. Who's funny? And I gotta always talk about my guy Trump. Gemini sun is his son. When is your birthday? You must have a birthday that is past or coming up, TT. June the 14th, so this Saturday, and he's a 20-degree Gemini, 22-degree Gemini sun. I'm a 22-degree Scorpio sun. He's a Sagittarius moon, so this was his full moon. It was at 20 degrees on his Sagittarius moon. So, like, do you not see this? It's not like he's getting assassinated right now, but he's getting this, like, uh, should talk by Elon, should talk by everybody as usual. Now that he said he was going to get the illegals out, but now there's a huge problem and everybody's against him and trying to not, like, that man, that Gemini right there is going through it. All right. And she said she's the 17th. So you got 6 days. Sunday? No, I'm sorry. The 17th will be next year. Next Mars Day. Okay. Happy early birthday. Happy early solar return. How old are you going to be? 21? All right. So that was it for Gemini risings. Cancer risings. I'm trying to move a little fast because we got 4 parts to go through tonight. Cancer risings, self-image versus career pressure. So Cancer risings, of course, have Cancer in the first house. So self-image, first house. What's switching up for Cancer risings? 35. So that's a millennial. I'm trying to think. Millennials don't have any Sagittarius placements. Or they don't have any mutable placements. Millennials. Your Pluto will be in Scorpio, and their Neptune will be in Capricorn. I know that's what I'm saying. The millennials, you've been traumatized all your poor life. It wasn't our generation. We was traumatized too, because Scorpio, and Pluto and Libra both got to do relationships and partnerships and intimacy. The Gen Zers, especially the late Gen Zers, because of the early Gen Zers is what I'm gonna call the ones right in between the baby boomers and the late Gen Zers. The Zillennials. I'm sorry, I keep saying Zers. We're Xers. The late Gen Xers and the early Gen Xers, Pluto and Virgo, are very different because that Libra component, we were the ones, the kids that just, our parents was divorcing and they was cheating on each other, they was having kids on each other, they was leaving us in the house to raise ourselves, and then the Pluto and Scorpio generation was just traumatized by all that. That all that came from that. Thank you for the likes. Okay, so Cancer, like you said, first house self-image, Cancer risings versus your career pressure, 10th house. So there's definitely got to be some conflict. It's getting ready to be Cancer season. Jupiter and Cancer will help out with that energy, but the square off will be pretty consistent through these 3 planets through the summer, actually. And then Saturn will have its retrograde and it will trine Jupiter, so that'll be good. But we're gonna have this square. This is why this is important, and I did it first. We're gonna have this square for a minute, y'all. Not that long, because Jupiter will move pretty quickly, and it won't come back to the lower degrees with these. But yeah, it's gonna be at least about a month. Jupiter stays at each sign 1 year, but it retrogrades. Yeah, so it'll retrograde. Jupiter will retrograde when it gets to 25 degrees of Cancer and go back to 15. So it won't get close to Saturn and Neptune again. But like all July, I mean, like half of July and the rest of June, they're going to be close in degrees. Jupiter will probably be about 7, 8 in the later part of the first decan by the end of or the middle of July. So it changes degree like every 3 to 4 weeks. All right. So we're at Leo's. This is Imani and the crew. We got 6 people in here. Thank you. How are you feeling with the full moon? I was taking a nap all day. I didn't do jack. I didn't even go outside because the heat was coming through the windows, and I kept turning the air on. It gets real cold. Then I turn it on, and it gets real sweltering. I'm in the DMV area, so it's very humid around here. Very humid. How are you feeling? How's everyone feeling? How you feeling? You are so great. That's what I told Zane. I said when we get our governmental food stamps, because they're still giving them out, y'all. No matter what y'all say, they ain't cut off Section 8 because people still around here Section 8, and we're still getting food stamps. We're gonna get some crabs in Cancer season popping off very soon. We're only because Cancer season begins the 21st on the summer equinox, so 4 days after your solar return, TT. Everybody gets tired after the. I know you want crabs and money, but were you sleepy like everybody? Me, Zane, everybody, all of us was in here taking a nap today. It's very tiring. Like I got up with so many things to do, and I just did everything from the bed, and then after I kind of finished most of it, I went to sleep. Got up, took a shower, and everything, dressed up. Okay, so Leos have Cancer, of course, in the 12th house, and Aries in the ninth house. So 12th house will be: are you having any conflict with healing? And it could be, some subconscious fears as well. Very. All that. But listen, that's that 12th house. Yeah. I wanted to point out too that 12th house brings up all that stuff you were talking about, of course, and that because you are a Leo rising and TT is a Taurus rising with Aries in the 12th house, y'all both. She was saying in the chat that she's doing a lot of reflecting. So it sounds like you're both doing reflecting, especially with that 12th house energy, especially with spirituality, and especially I think all this is tied into the Sagittarius full moon as well. You don't have that, Sagittarius 12th house, but it's Pisces house, which is also Jupiter ruled. So they both kind of have the same characteristics, and that just very super to me. Yep. What about you? You got Aries in the ninth house, so that's the belief upgrades. That's the like you said, metaphysical instead of religious now. Or even Jehovah's Witness path. A Jehovah's Witness path is still a different path from religion. From what I know, it's an upgrade or it's a difference. I'm not gonna say an upgrade because who knows what is upgrade. Whatever upgrade is to us is what it is. But like it's a difference in Christianity, Catholic, all the different things. And then I don't think that Jehovah's Witness attach themselves to Christianity, right? They do. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a denomination of Christianity. It's a denomination of Christianity. Yeah. What I'm set on, and this ain't my house. We're talking about, this is yours, and for Cancer and um, Aries for TT, the 12th house. But um, I don't want to learn any of it anymore. I feel like I've learned bits and pieces of it already early in life when I went to religious school. I want to learn the new things about spirituality that I was never taught, that was hidden, and that's what I want to learn. Aligns and all that is tied in. Yeah. All done. All right. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get to wait a minute. Oh, in your natal. I'm thinking right. In your yeah. Your natal. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get to what you told me you went to do earlier in a little bit when we talk about no because listen, inspirational Leos and Leo risings, you can be inspiring in anything you mention. So yeah, like I said, that is very interesting on how you have the belief upgrades and the healing going on and everything you do with us. All right. Virgo, friends versus trauma. Friends is the 11th house for Cancer with Virgo risings. Zane is a Virgo rising. She's definitely reconnecting with friends and realizing that some of them have some conflicts with her actually doing this book. She has a friend that she's grown up with since preschool, and Zane will be 13 next month. She already turned 13. She's an Aquarius. I don't know her rising sign. Her family is very Christian, and they don't really want to know about astrology. So, but she has a little sister that's a Cancer, and her little sister is Zane and her, first best friend are 13, and little sister is turning 11 in July when Zane turns 13. They're like 2 years and a week apart. And long story short, the little sister that's the Cancer, oh Zane, I want to get the book. The other one, what book? But keep in mind, she's an Aquarius sun, so very detached. But it still is teaching Zane a little lesson like, okay, all your friends aren't going to be supportive. So even at an early age, you're going to discover this. Virgo rising with 11th house Cancer, and then 8th house, Virgo risings. 8th house for the Aries, and that's shared trauma. So on the flip side of the friends, it's the family. It's my, one side of the family has shared some trauma. That's the paternal side. And now they're kind of making up for it by buying 3 books. Thank y'all and shout out to y'all. Shout out to the boys. But on my side of the family, the big sister is acting like there's no book. The grandmother is acting like there's no book. And while I know they love Zane, I don't know what's going on in their mindsets. I really don't. And it's not really trauma, but it comes down from shared trauma, in my opinion. It comes down, yes, don't forget to tap the screen. Thank y'all. And it just comes down to, like, whatever beef you have with her mother, the Virgo rising's mother, leave that with the mother. And that's all I'm going to say about that before I get all emotional. All right, so Libra rising, me, I have Cancer in the 10th house, which is the Capricorn house, and Aries in the 7th house. So Libra risings have the opposite signs of the Aries risings, the opposite houses. So, career, yes. I'm still going through it with pushing this entrepreneurship and dipping and dabbing. Think I want a part-time, but don't really have to have time to have a part-time. Entrepreneurship is like a full-time job in itself, and it's overtime too. So I'm having conflict with just dealing with pushing forward with having very little financial, funds right now. Because all the funds for Zane's will go to Zane, not to me as the mom manager. As the mom manager, when we make those bookings and all these big things come up, thank you, TT, for the hearts. So yeah, when all those, when he starts building up, then I'll pay myself a little bit. Then Zane will take us on a trip or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But all that's going to her. I got to figure out how to push myself even further. So what I'm doing with her to build up my new career as an entrepreneur. So a little conflict with that because I'm still 1 foot in the JOB, still. Then having Aries in my 7th house of partnerships. I do have, like I said, a couple of ventures that, which is really funny. The real estate venture that we were talking about, I was talking about it with Wendy. I don't know if you were here or that was when I was on the phone. but how she pulled cards and realized that like real estate was my thing for this energies that's going on with Jupiter and Cancer right now. Um, and I guess Saturn and Aries and Neptune and Aries too. So the partnership I built with the real estate agent motivated me, and he's a Gemini too. Shout out to Sam. It motivated me to have enough information. He gave me to want to talk to the landlord that I'm currently with and my previous landlord. My previous landlord, who I had a falling out with, long story short, is interested in having me assist him with getting, probably a buyer to buy the old building that I used to live in. So that's really interesting about that. We used to have conflict, and now we're about to partner up again for this. So I'm really feeling this square. Still's a little tricky talking to him because he's a alpha male. I'm an alpha female, but it would be interesting to see how this goes for the next few weeks. So that's Libra rising. Yeah. Yeah. So because I'm a Libra rising, it would be one of the Earth houses, but it will mostly be a new career for me. So 10th house energy. Okay. Capricorn. Somebody else is mapping out your life without knowing your map of life. Hmm. Thank you. I mean, as I learn, I share. It's a struggle still. I ain't gonna lie. The other thing about real estate would be Saturn. And Saturn is in its detriment in Aries, so it's like I'm getting started with something new, but it's still a struggle. You know what I'm saying? Saturn moves slow, the planet of time, grandfather time at that, and Aries moves quick. So Aries can't get started without, asking Saturn for permission to go. Saturn's gonna say, yeah, go, but go slowly because I'm a grandfather and I need to make sure that you're structured and you're on point and you're responsible and your reputation, all that. Hmm. Yep. And then Neptune is the planet that rules the 12th house too. So it's like all the illusions. Hey, Jamal, join us. Thank you for joining us. We listen. Oh, he went back out. But listen, if you come back in, please tap in, and I'm gonna add you. Um, no, he is here. Peace. We're talking about all the houses, and we're like on Scorpio now, but we're talking about squaring all the Cancer, Mercury, and Jupiter in the first decan, and Neptune and Saturn. But yeah, Imani, really quick, the Neptune illusions are being like, what do you call it? Restricted even. So like our dreams come from Neptune too. So like everything I'm dreaming about, trying to make happen with this entrepreneurship is at a slow increase right now. Even with this is my Jupiter return right now. Like my Jupiter natal is 5 degrees, so like all this is squaring my natal right now too. My natal Jupiter.
Yeah. So just utilizing this. Okay, well, where do I need to where do I need to slow down? Where do I need to get disciplined? Where do I need to do it, and just take action where you can, and make sure that you take it looking for the learning, the lessons, and all that kind of stuff, and structuring things, and getting disciplined. So yeah, yep.
So enough about me.
I just wanted to touch on that piece.
Thank you. Scorpio risings have Cancer in the 9th house and the 6th house for Aries. So 9th house would be conflict with purpose or, your beliefs. For Scorpio, that can be so deep and as a Scorpio sun, it could be the purpose is always getting to the deep, dark secrets of things with I would say with Scorpio. Even Scorpio rises. And then the health house for Aries, conflict with health for Scorpio risings. I mean, like, it's not only just health, it could be service to others. Scorpios are very giving, but it comes with manipulation sometimes. So I could see some conflict with that. Anything on that? And we'll get more into the Scorpio placements when we talk about fixed signs. Sagittarius.
Oh no, I'm on a. Oh, let me mute myself.
Oh, okay. He joined. Yay, Jamal.
It's always good to see him.
Okay. Appreciate all y'all's time because I know everybody could be. What's the saying? You could be anywhere in the world. Okay, so Sagittarius risings, Jamal, and we're talking about you. We're talking about you have Jupiter and Mercury in the 8th house, squaring with having Aries in the 5th house. And I would say that there might be some conflict with intimacy, 8th house, or it could be depths. It could be, having Cancer there, I would say it might even be something with intimacy because it's water signs. Jamal, let me know. And then creative blocks with conflicts with creative blocks with having Aries in the 5th house. With this being under the Jupiter full moon as a Sagittarius rising, I would say there would be some release there too. You might be busy. But yes, Jamal is a Sagittarius rising. All right, I'm going to keep moving because when you can, he'll tap in and we want to keep going through the other parts. Capricorn risings have Cancer in the 7th house of relationships and the 4th house for Aries for family rules. So definitely some family rules. Capricorn is the grandfather and Cancer is, or father and Cancer is the mother. So Capricorn rising is having, some conflict with family or home situations or even mother situations. Could be probably enough for Capricorn risings to handle. As a Capricorn moon, my moon is transiting there.
Damn, I need to check on my little cousin.
Capricorn.
Yeah, he a Capricorn, and my aunt is a Cancer, and they already been having conflict. So, and he recently had to move back home, but good thing she owned apartment buildings. So he moved to one of the apartments, but I know they've been having conflict. So I'm gonna check in with him after I get off and just say hey and see how things are going because Yeah, he ain't. I don't know. I don't know what his rising is. I don't know what her rising is, but I know that they both. One, she's a Cancer sun, and he's a Capricorn sun. So I'm gonna just see.
They got this square off.
But yeah, they somewhere it's happening. So
Okay, and then for Aquarius risings, sixth house for Cancer, service to others, and third house for Aries, mental freedom. Aquarius already, I think, had freedom down pat. He falls Aquarius sun. So, like, like mental freedom as an Aquarius, I think would be not that conflicting because it's already there. It's already like, what do you call it? Water up a duck's back. It's already easy. It's something easy.
but do you think that the degree that they have it in would matter though?
Oh, if they have it in a Mercury degree, or Gemini or Virgo degree, probably, because Virgo can be a little bit, over, if it's in the sixth degree. And what's in the sixth degree? Mercury is in the sixth degree right now, so it's in its Virgo degree. It's in one of its ruling degrees. In Cancer, at that. I think, like I said, Zane is a Cancer sun and a Virgo rising. And mentally, I let her out, especially being a brand new author and entrepreneur and just learning all this stuff with me at the same time. But at her young age, I let her have mental breaks with, taking naps, watching some stuff on her phone or whatever, gaming, and then getting back to it. But yeah, Aquarius rising, service to others. Jamal, you did? Because six house for I know you're not Aquarius rising. We're talking about Aquarius rising, but you're Aquarius sun. We're talking about having Cancer with Mercury in the sixth degree, and Jupiter in Cancer transiting their conflict with the stuff in Aries, Saturn and Neptune. So like your sun is in the sixth house right now with this transit. Is that right?
You talking about my son?
Not this is for Aquarius rising, so that wouldn't
Oh,
be
Aquarius son. Oh, yeah.
service to others. Having Aquarius, I'm sorry, having Cancer in the sixth house.
Oh, yeah. Cancer in the sixth.
A conflict in that.
Um, I, I, I mean, what you mean? But because they squaring Saturn
Yep,
and
and
Neptune.
mm-hmm.
See, I think this is a different.
Approach.
I think this is different than because Saturn and Jupiter been squaring each other for
A long
over a
time.
year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying at the beginning of this, that they're going to be doing it for a while too, until Jupiter
Yep.
moves further out.
Yeah, but Jupiter is in his exaltation though.
Right. So
So
is the square is powerful when it's in its exaltation or no? That's a
I
good point.
think Jupiter is not the same. Jupiter ain't getting punked no more.
Right. Okay.
Jupiter was getting punked because it was debilitated in Gemini.
Right.
It was being forced. The teacher was being forced to be the student, and
Mm.
now Jupiter is in his exaltation. The square with Saturn
And Neptune.
still forces us into some type of action, but it's about timing, and um it's also about having all the facts because Jupiter is squaring Neptune too.
Right.
So I think the conflict is around, do I have all the information that I need, or am I being delusional? You know,
Mhm.
because Neptune squaring Jupiter, this is where cults get started.
That's what I heard the other day. I think I was watching your thing.
Yeah,
Yep. I was watching your
yeah.
video about it.
Um,
This is where
but
cults
I
get.
don't. I I think this is a time where there can be where things can pop off.
And they are. That's why I wanted to have this discussion about this square, because the whole restrictions piece, I think, is the ice, right? Not the icing, but the ice, immigration, whatever it's called. And the illusions of, you know, people thinking that, I'm trying to tie it into Aries because I really can't find that there, but I guess the illusions of Neptune being in Aries could be something about, like, it's the start of a new cycle, so people are still kind of stuck in the old. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, why is all this happening? You said a cult is starting, but why is all this happening with the restrictions of the government? Because that's Saturn,
because because the world is Hollywood now,
right?
and and Neptune rules over illusion.
Right.
So all of these things are being put in place to divert people's attention from themselves. Aries is me,
Right.
and Neptune, there's a confusion about who I really am,
Okay.
confusion around my identity and how to
Right.
take action.
Right.
At the same time, because Saturn's there, I feel like I want to rebel against anything that feels like somebody trying to restrict me.
Mm. That
And
okay.
with Jupiter squaring, I may be delusional.
Hmm.
So if I have not done taken steps prior to this to take myself through my own maturation process, then I got a whole lot of internal strife going on right now because I'm feeling like I got to fight against oppressive things trying to hold me back. I ain't really sure who I am.
Hmm.
My emotions are expanded because Jupiter's in Cancer.
Yep.
So I think the all the stuff going on out there, I think the biggest game being pulled is to pull people's attention from themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's kind of the world is the stage.
That's also from the conjunction with these two, I would say. That's why I moved the
Yes,
conjunction up, because they're staying together for a while as well, until Saturn
right,
goes retrograde.
right, right.
I see your point now. I was trying, like, it made sense already, but you made it. I like when we go deeper. But the conjunction, I guess. I mean, I'm sorry, not the conjunction, but the square off. You're saying is not that strong. It's not going to be that bad because Jupiter
N-
will still bring abundance and good luck.
Yeah, but a benefic is always a benefic,
Right.
you know. So Jupiter has a soft energy to it, but it can also inflame or expand something that could be detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like getting a square from Mars where it's gonna smack you right in your face from the jump.
Yeah.
Jupiter is gonna come in and it might be a Jupiter square, maybe this is your spiritual inclination can go through the roof right now with Jupiter squaring Neptune. Like this is a time where your dreams may just be lit, downloads, intuition,
Mm-hmm.
people who are have gifts of clairaudience, clairvoyance, those things may pick up. But on the flip side, it may go to such an extreme to where a person just lose all touch with 3D world,
Mm.
like then they lost in the sauce. So that's what I'm saying. It ain't the same type of square as getting hit with a malefic. The
Right.
problem with Jupiter square Saturn is that your excessiveness will be brought into check by a reality check.
Saturn.
Jupiter is excess,
Mm-hmm.
Saturn is reality, karma,
Mm-hmm.
restriction. So Saturn will be bringing up the reality of excessiveness. and it's fast because it's in cardinal sign. This is action.
Right.
This
Initiation.
ain't mutable. Mutable is we was in our head trying to figure. Right now, there's a directive to take action right now, but it's which action do I take?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And am I basing it on a perspective that might be skewed because Jupiter is also perspective and Neptune is fusion. So maybe my perspective is cloudy right now. And if I take a move based on a cloudy perspective, I may have the karma of Saturn that comes back and bites me.
Oh my God. Okay.
So how do we mitigate this? Saturn in Aries requires us to I gotta police myself so nobody else can police me.
Right.
And if Saturn gets what it wants,
Self
it will
government.
help. It'll help cool down the confusion of Neptune, and it'll help ground us so that we don't get caught up in the square between Jupiter and Neptune. And then we have a chance to see the actual abundance that can come out of this aspect.
You said Jupiter and Venus?
No, Jupiter and Neptune,
That's right.
those two can produce something special.
Right.
But Saturn is the key. The main
So,
one that we don't want to deal with is that's the key, is Saturn.
right. The main one slowing things down. Because what I was thinking when you were talking about the beneficent planets, Venus being in Taurus is in a sextile with Jupiter, but it's also in a square with Pluto. So it's still like the malefic, the benefic. How do you say these words? Benefic,
Benefic and the malefic.
benefic, and the malefics are still like in cardinal and in fixed signs are having these squares that to me is kind of overpowering the sextiles that are going on too. Does that make sense?
So you're saying each harmonious aspect has a hard aspect to a malefic.
Right.
Because
The harmonious
right,
ones, the harmonious planets, the benefic planets are Jupiter and Venus, right?
right.
And they're
Venus
in a
and
sextile,
Taurus.
close, not close, but they're almost in a sextile. And the malefic ones, Saturn and Pluto. Mars is not in it right now. But Mars is squaring Uranus too. Like there's a lot of squares. That's what I was talking about. There's a lot of squares going on, and it's with the cardinals and the fixed. But the main ones that I wanted to point out again was Jupiter because it's beneficial in Saturn because it's not, and Venus and Pluto because they're not. Those are the most toughest planets having a conflict with the good planets. Just
Yeah, this the
not to
so
be so
you
tongue tied.
so you mitigate this by the outer planets work like the highway in your city.
Okay.
So if there's construction, you ain't got no control over that. If traffic is blocked up, you ain't got no control.
Right.
These are infrastructural things. So you have to, it don't matter how we feel about it, the
Hmm.
highway's blocked up. It's bigger than us.
Okay.
So when these outer planets create hard aspects, you have to be clear about, okay, the highway blocked up here. Let me take this side. In other words, you got to see the aspect and see what it's requiring.
Okay.
So whenever Pluto is in a hard, Pluto and Venus square every year.
Right.
So
Maybe more times than
if
one.
if Venus is in Taurus and Pluto is in Aquarius, then uh, shallow vanity
Hmm.
is getting trashed right now.
Right.
Pluto is saying anything that's shallow, surface level, throw that out. That's
Yeah,
a wrap for that.
go ahead.
So if we understand that, then we can get more out of Venus. Don't have to get beat down because we don't have to be delusional and understand that, okay, I got to go for some depth.
Right,
If it's Saturn, then we know discipline.
right.
If it's Neptune, I got to figure out how can I be inclined spiritually but not lose my mind.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I see where you're going. Is Jupiter considered one of the outer planets or inner planets, would you say?
It's a they call it transpersonal because it's in between. It's
Saturn
Jupiter
is
and
too.
hmm
No.
Jupiter and Saturn are transpersonal.
Right. And then the outer planets will start with Uranus.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate all that. I mean, I sometimes I just got to go deeper, and that's what helps me process it better. I
hmm
appreciate it. I was going through all the rising signs, but they're not as important as kind of getting this in. And then the last thing I was going to touch on was the full moon in Sagittarius. I see Imani and TT. Imani, you want to say anything to Jamal because he just dropped a whole lot. I know you're in here the comments talking with TT.
I know. I don't have anything. I was listening, and I didn't know Jupiter and Saturn were transpersonal planets. I had never even heard that term before. So of course I'm going to look that up. But yeah, that's interesting that he's saying that basically you got to find the balance between your spirituality and, I guess, like you said, not losing my mind or the illusions, if you will, because you're saying Jupiter and Neptune square every year, right?
hmm
Yeah.
No,
So
no, 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 not every year. No, Venus and Pluto square every year.
Venus and Pluto do okay, and so but Jupiter and Neptune are currently squaring now. Is that what we're
Right.
saying? Yeah.
hmm
So yeah. So based on that, yeah, that was interesting perspective that you were saying. So yeah.
And you need to
And
go
that's
back to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
This is another way to understand this.
yes.
In 2022, in April, Jupiter and Neptune made a conjunction in Pisces.
Right.
And they hadn't made that conjunction since like 1856 or 1866, somewhere in there. So you go back to what was going on in your life in April of 2022. That was the start of a new, that when two planets conjunct, it's called a synodic cycle, the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter
So
and Neptune, right? Yeah, that was
that's right.
that was me being very delusional that year in that month, actually.
Okay. So what they're doing now is like called the opening square.
Hmm.
You know, when we have a new moon and we have a first quarter moon, that's the opening square. Well,
Hmm.
this would be the equivalent. Jupiter and Neptune is in their opening square of their new synodic cycle that began in 2022.
Right.
So whatever you was going on back then, you're being forced into action based on what you planted back then.
Around what time? What month of 2022?
It was like uh I want to say April of 2022, and they were conjunct somewhere around 20, 23, 24 Pisces.
So you look at your Pisces house too. Sixth house.
That was
So I
basically.
started my job that I just left in April of 2022, and um, I also switched to women, dating women.
Mm.
Delusion. The job, not so much. Well, I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but it was not something. It was something that worked out for me for the time being, but it was something I also, like you said, we're having the opening square part of it, so it's like it's wrapping up. So April 2025 is when the job ended for me. It was something that I really didn't want to do, but I just did for the time being, and I was there for 3 years. So.
Well, now this is actually something beginning.
Well, I'm beginning a new career path because I left that, that I was cut out the budget. But that's what I was saying earlier because I have the Cancer in the 10th house. I'm beginning as an entrepreneur, with my daughter's book and just trying to be like a coach to her and see if I can turn this into a whole business for other people and children.
Hmm.
But Saturn is kind of slowing it down for me. It's also keeping my foot in the door of still wanting a job sometimes and thinking I just need to go back to work, you know. So I am starting a whole new path because I don't have a job and I've always had a job since I was 14 years old. And
And you said it. What was the square doing? It was in Pisces and what? And
The conjunction was in Pisces.
with
So that's
Neptune,
where the seed was planted in Pisces.
yeah,
in April of
And now
2020.
the crisis of action
where
is taking place in Aries and Cancer.
Oh well, then I'm definitely that must be what I'm expecting, and I was on point. So, a reason why what I'm saying is because I'm gonna kind of give y'all just a little bit in depth, real quick. I probably I made a prayer probably around April 2022 because I quit my job in April 2022, January, not April, but January of 2022. I quit my job. I was making good money, but it was too stressful. And anyway, I think around April-ish sometime, I said a prayer, and asked the Most High, let's co-create, whatever I have to go through, whatever sacrifices I need to make to be in alignment, to walk in my purpose, to, utilize these energies, let's co-create, right? That's what I prayed back then. Now, I have made the sacrifice. I've reduced all my bills, some forced, some not. I'm content with how the way that I'm kind of living for right now because I want to reduce, I guess, my overhead expenses so that I can focus on building business, so that I can focus on, my spirituality and developing those gifts and, focusing more on that. That was the whole purpose of the prayer, is to be in alignment. And it's so funny that you say that because just recently that prayer was brought back to me like last week or whatever, the other day, that, I was like, I don't know what I was expecting when I made that prayer, but this is exactly what I'm going through. I'm going through the obstacles. We are co-creating. He does give me downloads. I am, the Most High does give me downloads. I am kind of aligning and planning out and, working through what, aligning with what my purpose seems to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. So, that all to me makes sense. I don't know if that's making sense to y'all, but
Yeah,
it makes sense that you say that because that seems to be that's the seed that was planted back in 2022. That was the prayer seed,
there you
and
go.
it's happening. And since y'all said that these squares or whatever, or these transits happen, these aspects happen for periods of time, it seemed like okay, I've been dealing with this since 2022. You know, um, I went home in 2023. That was all about going home and, dealing with some traumatic things within my family and on top of how I show up for my family. So that was one thing I had to learn. I think that was about learning how to balance and learning how to show, how I'm going to show up for my family and being okay with standing out and being different from like their beliefs and just and now this year is about my own beliefs and about doing my own thing and finishing out these obstacles that were to come based on that prayer. That's what it seemed like. So that is making a lot of sense for me that you said that because my eighth house is Pisces. So I was having what was I having? I'm currently, matter of fact, having my North Node opposite, right? I think. Yeah, because my North Node is and my natal North Node is in Virgo, and my South Node, my natal South Node is in Pisces. And now I'm having those opposites right now, on top of the fact that I have been having the Uranus and Taurus, the Uranus transiting Scorpio for the last couple of years. And my 10th house, it was opposing my natal Uranus. I mean, Uranus transiting Taurus in my 10th house. It was
I'm
it
posting
was
the
opposing
natal one. Yeah,
my natal
Scorpio.
Taurus in the 4th house. So that was the whole 2023 stuff. And then Saturn was in my 8th house. Saturn in Pisces was in my 8th house for a while. Again, opposing my 2nd house. So, you know, making that prayer and the fact that it all centered around what I wanted, me quitting my job, me praying to let's co-create. I had planned on, the plan was to get my life insurance license, drive Lyft and build clientele. And then once I got my license and started building clientele, then go study in taxes and all this other kind of stuff. And these are the things that I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Or still want to do. But apparently I had to clear out some stuff throughout these last couple of years, if that makes sense. And now this year is what you said, take action. Is that what you're saying? It's take action to see that planet,
Starting new.
right? Is that what you're saying?
Starting new.
Yeah, well, it creates. See, uh-oh. See, action is the thing about action is even not taking action is an action.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, because all action is based on fire. Because Aries sets the tone for all action because it is the initiator of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
So, whenever there's a square, it has the nature of Mars, which is the ruler of Aries.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturn, even though make us feel like things are being held up, that's an actual action. Because when you push your brakes on the car, it takes friction for your car to stop, which is fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even something being feeling like it's stopping requires it's an action, it's a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturn will slow us down. So check this out. Saturn, Neptune squaring Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter and Neptune can have us over expecting of something. It cause us to have an over expectation of how something gonna play out. And then when Saturn comes in, it'll make you feel like the brakes getting put on.
And that's exactly what I've been feeling the last couple of years.
And okay, so then the action ain't necessarily that you supposed to be, oh, I gotta do. Sometimes the action is Saturn's making you take the action to sit still and
Mm-hmm.
to really police all of the details. And Saturn tests your endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if Jupiter's the big idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? Neptune's the dream. Saturn be like, okay, motherfucker, let's see how much you really say you about this. What if it's gonna take you 10 years to get it done?
Ooh, that's what it feels like. Yeah.
What if it's gonna take you 5? See, we gotta understand that's what Saturn's job is. Saturn's job is to really test your gangster. If you really say you about that life, then let's see if you can endure until the time is right for you to actually reap. Because Saturn's the grim reaper, but
Mm-hmm.
that don't mean nothing negative all the time. Reaper means you reap what you have sown
Right.
in due time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. That's interesting because again, with Uranus opposing my 4th house, a lot of the stuff had to do with home. The Uranus and Taurus, and a lot of the stuff had to do with work. And so that halt that Saturn did was in both those areas. And the big idea with Jupiter is just like they kind of is like they're there, but you're right. that Saturn caused that halt with my stability, I would say,
Yeah,
in home
yeah.
and my work, my
Listen.
career.
I'm a
Yeah.
Sagittarius rising. I
Mhm.
have lived my life in over expectancy.
Mm, wow.
I was born with the sun afflicted in Aquarius and Saturn afflicted in the opposite sign of Leo.
Mhm.
Mm,
So I have lived my life with over expectation and things not coming when I want them.
mm,
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking when I'm saying this, it's from the astrology, it's also from lived experience.
yeah.
Can
And
I
what
Mm,
can I jump
Saturn
in
will
real quick? Because I got Saturn and Leo too. I'm right behind you in the age group, right? But
hmm
Saturn and Leo is in its detriment, and Saturn and Aries fall, whichever one it is. Those are the two places where it's supposedly doesn't do well, right?
right,
Or also Cancer, also Cancer.
right.
So you saying this, us being Saturn and Leo people, I got Saturn in 29 degrees of Leo, which is crazy.
no.
And I just feel like it has always been like people expecting so much of us, and when they don't get it, it's a huge letdown.
No, I'm talking personal. I'm talking about
My
me.
personal, me too.
No, no, I'm saying, but when you know how you said people, I'm saying I have high expectations.
Oh, right.
It's
Okay.
been me. Like say
Mm,
I have this big idea, I create this I start this project and I expect that it's just going it can be like putting a video out. I worked on this video. I was like, I know this thing gonna have 10,000 views
mm,
and it might get 300.
mm,
That's that expectation
yeah.
because Jupiter makes you over uh
Anticipate.
extend yourself, have these grandiose,
Mm,
but Jupiter,
Exaggeration planet. Yep.
but Jupiter is part of a square with my sun and Saturn. So
Mm,
I've had to learn how to endure and how bad do I really want it? You know what I'm saying? It builds endurance because I don't get things when I want it.
I completely can relate to that. I have Jupiter and Leo in my first house. And I do have that same thing with this whole grandiose, I'm smart, I can do this, my intellect, I'm very big on I have Mercury and Leo, all this, stuff in the first house. I have that same thing. I have high expectations of myself, right?
hmm
So and then, I guess uh, you know, then I have Saturn and Virgo in my second house. And so that endurance part, I've I definitely can endure, but I still think that there's some weaknesses with my action taken and
So
some other
so let me
pieces.
ask you, hold on,
Mhm.
I'm sorry let me ask you though, is there anything square in Jupiter though? Or
In my
opposing Jupiter?
opposing Jupiter, that I have in my natal chart, not I don't think so. Let me think.
So let me tell you what what what's what you are expressing. You may not have had in your chart the roadblock to your Jupiter.
The roadblock to it. Oh wow. Let me see. Well, what you mean by that?
See,
Hello?
if you naturally got a roadblock in that chart, so in other words, right now you may be in a point in your life in these last 4 years or so where you actually learning the endurance.
Mhm.
Because Saturn came and squared that Jupiter at some point, because Saturn was in Aquarius. And Saturn in Aquarius was going to create a grand cross when Uranus was in Taurus.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that was you a chance. to start developing a greater degree of endurance because you had things directly creating conflict with Jupiter. See, Jupiter and Leo in the first house,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you're naturally born thinking that you are the sun.
Right.
You were born thinking I'm the light. I brought the light in here.
Yeah.
So you needed
Yes. I'm light. Yep. That's exactly what I
That's Leo
think.
energy in itself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
so you needed conflict to actually teach you how to really cultivate light. You need something to you needed something to back your ego down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you
It's,
remember last week, I was saying I've kind of learned to calm my ego down or work, work because I know I have so much of it. Remember, I was saying, I don't know if you remember, but yeah, you're absolutely right. My bad. Go ahead.
but that's no, I cut you, but that I just had to because I saw already seen where you was going.
hmm
But
the only square that I have with my Jupiter is with my midhaven. Other than that, I just got conjunctions with my Mercury, Venus, and Ascendant. But oh
yeah,
wait, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Hold on, Jupiter. I'm sorry. I don't. I have a square with Uranus. That's the only square I have. And again, like I told you, I got Uranus in Taurus. I
I
mean,
don't
in
know.
mhm.
Scorpio. In Scorpio. Sorry.
Hold on. I'm sorry to cut y'all off. But I don't know if Jupiter, because I know TT's having her Jupiter return. I'm having mine. I kind of want to remind us to, when y'all finish, get back to the Jupiter square thing really quick, just so I can have one more response to that, Jamal, if you don't mind, because again, the Saturn newness that I'm having is still me. It's still me kind of structured and trying to be responsible. Still, I'm still kind of strict on myself, but the newness is calling me, and I feel like I'm going to be benefiting from it, from the benefic planet of Jupiter being in my return. So I'm concerned about the square, but I'm looking at past Jupiter returns. I've had 2013, 2001 returns on my Jupiter returns when Jupiter was in Cancer last two times. It was really good. It was a good time. So that keeps me hopeful. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I
and
know. I know.
hopeful
The
is a
last two
Jupiter
times though,
word,
it wasn't no square between Saturn though. It was no square between Saturn. That's the thing.
right? So the difference is now is that when we're well, let's say this. Did you know, were you astrologically inclined back then?
Nowhere near as I was since 2020.
Okay,
I was surface astrology, just the sun signs.
so there's a old cliche that when you're ignorant, you're not held accountable. But
Mm,
once you know, you're held accountable. So
wow.
now that you study astrology,
Mhm.
your accountability is way different, and and Saturn, the planet of accountability,
Yeah.
is actually factoring in.
Yes.
So the 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 cost to play is way higher now.
Yeah.
So Saturn, in order to get the abundance of Jupiter,
Gotta learn the
I can't
lesson.
say I can't echo this enough. Saturn must be paid his toll fee, or
Mm,
he will make life miserable.
mm,
And so the toll fee is he's in Aries. His or her fee, because it was her before it was him.
right.
Time was really a feminine Cronus.
Capricorn, Aries.
But
Yeah.
she wants self mastery. That's
Yeah.
the key.
That's what I'm feeling.
So so Cronus is also time. So time being dedicated in a disciplined manner towards something that I'm mastering.
Okay.
So that means things will have to get cut out
Yeah.
and things will have to get focused. And if I do that, then I set myself up for the abundance of Jupiter. Because now I am more responsible because I know more than I did then. So now the game has changed.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I want to answer this question in the comments, but hold on, World Prodigy. um,
Yeah, it do make sense.
it makes a lot of sense, and now I knew this, but it's like I had to hear the masculine. I had to hear. I get the feminine energy is kind of Neptunian energy, but and I'm a little delusional about it. There's a lot of things that I'm just not learning from Saturn too. I gotta like cut out a lot of stuff. I gotta cut out a lot of stuff. And again, I got the cusp action. So it says it's in, Aries is in my seventh house, but I got most of it in my sixth house, and that's the health house. I got to get disciplined about my health in order to receive a lot of abundance. Um, that could be food. That could be me smoking marijuana all day. That could be, that could be, me having too many drinks when I say I drink socially, and I'm really, it's I'm speaking my truths. I'm speaking my truths, and I really felt that, Jamal. Thank you.
No doubt.
So Word Prodigy said, "Why do they say Saturn is Satan?"
Mm.
That the they complex is the they complex. I'm gonna leave that there. Like, who is they, and who cares what they say? I don't know. That's my answer for that. Before we wrap up, Jamal, you have anything else to say? I wanted to talk about the full moon in Sagittarius, especially because you're a Sagittarius rising, and release from fake beliefs is the theme, I think, for this past Sagittarius rising moon. I'm sorry, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius full moon, and reclaiming your truths, because you want to release on the full moon, and then you want to reclaim or replace something with whatever you released. I've heard of that world
Hmm.
prodigy, but I just don't want to talk about that right now. Go ahead, Jamal.
Well, I think the most important thing about the full moon is when Sagittarius was that they had mutual reception.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter went into Cancer
The same day,
the
the moon.
night of June 9th.
Yep.
Cancer full moon, the Cancer, the Sagittarius full moon, the moon in Sagittarius. So
Yeah.
this was an opportunity to connect signs that don't normally see each other.
Right. Cancer and Sagittarius. Yep.
They're in conjunct. So Sagittarius is philosophical, and Cancer is feminine. It's a more emotionally
Mhm.
subconscious type of energy.
Yes.
This was an opportunity to connect your Sagittarius house to your Cancer house,
Mm.
two areas that may have been previously disconnected.
Right.
So wherever you got Sagittarius, it was an opportunity for them two to have a communication.
Damn, so that's number ninth and
Break it
12th.
down. Mutual reception. He means because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and it's in Cancer, and they moved into Jupiter moved into Cancer the same day the moon moved into Sagittarius. The full moon was, of course, 2 days later because it was in a later degree. But yeah, they did have a mutual reception because Jupiter is basically the ruler of the moon when it's in Sagittarius. And then the moon is the ruler of Cancer. So that's the other mutual thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the rising sign. Well, what do you think about the whole aspect of releasing? on full moon and replacing.
Well, I mean, we gotta already analyze what's a release. Most, a lot of babies are born on full moons.
Mm,
So when a mama has the baby, she's releasing. So releasing means that we're birthing something.
I like that. Yeah.
So a
Mm-hmm.
full moon, the waters rise on the planet, they rise in our brain, they rise in our body, and they cause things to release. That's why the water breaks
Mm-hmm.
on the full moon. So I would look at the release as the flip side is what are you birthing?
Yes.
And this birth is around a connection between it's a philosophical and an emotional connection. You're connecting philosophy seems to be heady, like it's intellect, but there's a connection here between your perspective, your philosophy, and your roots.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, this is the chance to understand something about your actual family and how your family has shaped your philosophy. See
Mm.
what I'm saying? You are
Mm-hmm.
these things you figure them out by just you speak the language.
That's
What's the
exactly what I'm.
language of the sign?
Right.
Sagittarius is higher learning, it's a philosophy, it's a truth. Well,
True.
how does my truth align with my roots? And what type of truth is birthing by me understanding how my roots have shaped my truth this far?
Mm.
I should have wrote that down. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I typed up. Say it one more time for Jamal, please, for the people in the back that's taking notes.
Yeah, because I'm going through this right now. Just I said it early in the live before you came on, but I need to have that question and meditate on that. Damn, type it up because I ain't gonna be able to do
Type
it.
it
Oh,
in.
let me put it in my notes, huh?
Can you say it one more time, Jamal, so we can be exact?
Okay. Your Cancer is a sign of family and your roots,
Roots,
your
right.
nativity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ruler for the roots.
Sagittarius is your truth, your philosophy. So these two give us a chance to see the connection between how my truth has developed based on my roots,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Damn.
to kind of get an idea of what truth may be birthing now through me having a deeper understanding of the connection that already existed
Yeah.
between my current truth and my roots. See, in other words, those two houses don't see each other, they're in conjunct. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
see how my roots has shaped my truth because those two houses are 150 degrees away. They don't see each other.
Right.
But when these two had this mutual reception, then they have a chance to two air. See, look, Cancer's cardinal, Sagittarius is
Muted.
mutable. Cancer
Mm-hmm.
is water, Sagittarius is fire. They don't meet up on no day, no time. They don't see each other. So at this time in the heavens, they were communicating. So this is your Cancer's always dealing with nurture. It deals with your mother, your nativity, the maternal side. It's your roots. It's
Mm-hmm.
family. So here was an opportunity to see a missing something about, oh, this is how my roots helped shaped my perspective or my philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
And now with this understanding, I can decide if that truth still applies to me or if I'm actually developing and birthing full moon,
Mm-hmm.
birthing a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's something else. Here's something else. This real. Just make this shit simple.
Okay.
See, if Gemini is what I see, Sagittarius is what I have seen. See, when I'm seeing Gemini, I'm perceiving.
Right.
When I have seen Sagittarius, I have a perspective.
Right.
So I'm getting the understanding of how my perspective
Mm-hmm.
has been connected to my roots.
Yes. I get it now.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Wendy's here. Hey, Wendy, let me know if you want to chime in. But really quick, while we're here on the full moon in Sagittarius, talking about how Cancer, the ruler of the moon, is the roots. Sagittarius was the sign that the moon was just in, which is our truth and philosophy, and this is truth has developed based on our roots. Just for the rising signs is here because I'm looking at my rising sign and what I put for having Sagittarius in the third house. I put stop repeating old stories. It's very fitting what we're talking about because reclaiming my truth, if I keep repeating the old stories, if I keep repeating what I've learned in my roots, it won't progress me, it won't develop like what we're discussing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Tying it all in from what I already had planned on saying for each rising sign. Like Leo, it says let go of love perfection. Fifth house, Sagittarius. Imani.
Yeah. Let go of love perfection.
So fifth house, the love house.
Mm-hmm.
That's I use the zodiac AI.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell my truth. But like it was saying, because of the fifth house, that's the love house, let go of love perfections. I would also attach expressions, the way you express yourself.
Hmm.
That's why I asked you.
Somebody. So you're saying somebody who has Sagittarius in the fifth. So
Me.
so Leo rising,
Leo
Sag
right?
in
That's.
the fifth. So
Mm-hmm.
so okay. So yeah, I'm gonna listen. I got some thoughts on that, but
Okay. I'll go to yours. I have Sagittarius shed old identity because first house. I have for Taurus rising that's TT, let go of debt, eighth house, Sagittarius, or secrets. And Wendy's here. I have Aquarius rising, let go of false dreams for 11th house, Sagittarius.
mhm.
Jamal, Wendy.
Okay.
I said it for
I
all of
can
them.
I can speak per well. Um, Leo rising, Sag in the fifth, Cancer in the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
How did the environment around the home shape the way my love life operates now?
Mm-hmm.
How did the environment around my gestation affects my relationship with my children now?
Mm-hmm.
How does it affect the way I create? What new understanding is emerging around that?
Mm. Um. How did it affect how I created? How I
I'm just
create?
saying rhetorical. I ain't trying to
Yeah, I
put
know.
you on.
No. I know. I'm actually taking notes. I'm writing it down. These are questions I plan on asking because and you said how did it affect with my children
How
or
does
my
it
child?
affect? Yeah, how does it affect your your life as a parent and how your children, their life as children? What's the impact that environment, whatever it was, pre-birth and the first 7 years of my life, how might it have be impacting my children like that? Maybe I could not have previously seen.
Yeah, that's gonna take some thinking, especially for that pre-birth and first 7 years, because again, I came into my brother passed away 3 months after I was born. My mother and father are 8 years apart. My father was a teenager basically when I was born. He was 16,
Okay.
17, ready to turn 18, something like that. So that's a in and of itself a whole thing
Hmm.
because it's like my mom was kind of messing with a little young underage kid. So that's a thing. How did that life affect my creativity? I think because I was shut down, I wasn't heard. I think that it messed with my confidence in creating. I don't necessarily try to create, and when I do, it's on a whim. My creation comes from right there on the spot. That's what I could create, you know. But that's what I've noticed so far about my creativity. In the home, my mom worked sometimes 2 jobs, so she definitely wasn't emotionally there
That's
unless she was
Cancer.
yelling at us. She definitely wasn't emotionally there. She definitely had to work 2 jobs because she was raising 3 kids by herself. Um, uh, I would say she was detached, and she's also a Leo. I don't know what her rising is, but she's also a Leo. So there was some detachment there. Dad was locked up for 13 years of my life, starting at 9 years old. So he tried to, you know, there's still some, you know, before he got locked up, he taught me how to ride a bike. He was, you know, the fun parent. He a Virgo, kind of wanted to be the friend. Still calls me, you know, more of his friend because he feels like we're closer in age because he was a teenager when I was born. And his parents stepped in to kind of help with the things that I needed while he was locked up for those 13 years. So that's a lot to unpack with those questions for
Mm-hmm.
sure, and how it affect my parenting. I'm not a hover mom, but I would say I have a balance between being a hover mom and you know, I definitely push her creativity. I definitely support her creativity. And I also pushed her with her intellect. You got to be smart. You got to be able to critically think. You got to, like I was on her. You got to take care of your health. You got to take care of your body. These are things I talked about in the home. Taking care of your
Mm-hmm.
body, worrying about your health, making sure you're smart. I'm not raising no zombie, no couch potato. You got to be able to critically think. We did mommy's homework and critical thinking exercises, and like those were my things. And then we had fun. Took her skating. Wanted her to experience being a teenager and a youngster. Made sure she went to the mall. Made sure, you know. I also didn't want her to have the same experience I had with my mom. Stopped doing my hair at 9 years old, and so I made sure she had her hair done regularly. Or I made sure I did it regularly. So those things kind of spilled over too. Whatever I didn't have and wanted as a kid, I got her. You know, she had big, beautiful, expensive doll houses made out of wood, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, all the stuff. So that's how it affected me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, that's something to sit with. Libra rising, Sagittarius in the third house, Cancer in the ninth. How did the perspective and the philosophy of the home shape the way I think and express myself now? How I think and express my opinions now. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the Capricorn moon in me is going to say that I want to kind of do what Imani did, and I did. I raised my children totally different. I was in a super structured, super restrictive, super
Excuse me.
intense home too. And I know that this is me not wanting to do the same thing. Not want to do the same thing. You said Cancer, and I have Cancer in my 10th house. So that's what I was talking about earlier about having Saturn and Leo in the 29th degree. I was expected to go to college, even though I was a party animal the whole time. You know, I was expected to get married, even though I separated from my ex-husband several times before we finally got divorced. Um, it just wasn't the same as my parents envisioned for me that they was lying about the whole time when they was going through the same stuff. Was that
So Cancer for you in the 10th is your public image
right?
and status.
Right.
So the emphasis on status from the family that you're seeing the impact it has had on the way I think and shape my opinions because it's Sagittarius in the third house.
Hmm. So yeah, but I shape my opinions to be, I mean, to just be rebellious. I know that's well, Sagittarius is freedom. I always wanted to be free from my parents' grasp.
Mm,
The 10th house is restriction too, So like I was very restricted as a child until all the way up to 40. Honestly, all the way up to 40, I did what my mother wanted me to do.
So I think this full moon is because of the mutual reception provided us with opportunity for reflection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
release.
Mm-hmm.
y- y- what am I releasing? But it's more that I got to be able to reflect, and I got to be able to see who are the players in the play. And I
Right.
think this gave us a chance to reflect on something that's, of course, has always been there, but maybe we ain't always seen the connection.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I think we still got TT here. Do you have time to do the Taurus rising? I think Wendy jumped out again. The Taurus
Taurus
rising,
rising,
um, the eighth house.
Cancer in the third, Cancer in the third,
There's in the eighth.
Sag in the eighth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Wendy's here too. Okay.
That might be emphasis on education in the home. How was learning approached? What were how were siblings dealt with in the home? Was there favoritism?
Mm,
You know, and how might that have created a perspective in the eighth house, especially that is the eighth house might be something, a perspective that's based on some type of trauma.
right. Family secrets too, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trauma even or
Communication with the mother, Cancer in the third house.
yeah.
You know, what type of communication took place in the home, and how did that shape a perspective in the eighth house that may have created a karma around even my one-on-one relationships? Because the eighth house, one thing about the eighth house is it can be the outcome of relationship, one-on-one relationship.
Right. Intimate relationships of that. I'm thinking of my son too. He's a Taurus rising. I'm his mom you're talking about.
Mm,
Wendy is here. She got it in the 11th house, Aquarius rising. That's
Aquarius rising, Sag in the 11th,
that would be
Cancer
uh,
in the fourth. No, no,
not
no, no, no. Aquarius, no, Cancer in the sixth.
six. Yeah. Congratulations, Titi. Cancer in the sixth would be the health. Health.
Yeah, it also can be about criticism.
Yes.
Was there criticism in what was a critique in the home? Was there a emphasis on perfection? Was there an emphasis on work? And was there um yeah, critique, perfection, work, um, and how might that have, where's Sag at in the 11th?
She said,
How,
"Hell yes."
Yep. I remember. I remember
mm,
this too. I remember her talking about that. Yep.
mm. And how did that help shape the type of socialization? Because 11th house is a social house. How did that shape my socialization? How did that shape the type of people that I would be in communion with? How would that shape the way I would approach my future? How
Mm-hmm.
did it impact the way my goal setting? You
Yep.
know, was there a
Mm.
rebellion of wanting to forge ahead to break free from something that maybe I wasn't quite sure what I was trying to break free from?
Her mother is a Capricorn. That makes a lot of sense too.
Mm,
With
mm,
Cancer in the sixth house, and her father's a Virgo. Father Sun is in your sixth house.
Oh, so a Cap and a Virgo, that is super disciplined, super
Right.
regimented. Do
Mm-hmm.
it right, do it tight. Oh yeah. Mm,
Mm,
mm. And Aquarius. Mm,
Yeah. Probably want to detach from it all.
mm,
Free from it. Church folks, she said. Mm.
mm.
We all got tough backgrounds, I'm trying to tell you. We were talking about this a long time before you came in, Jamal. We were talking about how all the Pluto and Libra and the Pluto and Scorpio, the late Gen Xers and the millennials have the parents that just without down talking to anybody because we don't want to do that. They still brought us here, but we just had a tough upbringing. Pluto and Libra and Pluto and Scorpio generation. Parents
I
specific.
feel like we the chosen ones personally, but I digress.
Not us all. I ain't gonna say all of us.
And I think us Uranus and Scorpio ones are, but that's
Yeah,
my thing.
that's the exaltation. Grandma in the fourth house of Taurus, and okay, but yeah, I mean, Jamal, you worked out. You worked out on this. I don't want to, you know,
He was constantly
wear you
criticized,
out. I don't
but
want to wear you out.
you still appreciate the upbringing.
Yes, because it's always dropping gems.
Hmm.
TT, this is the first time you heard Jamal in here, and because TT was on our live, I think Monday too,
Hmm.
and yeah, Jamal is a gem dropper all day. So is Wendy. So is Wendy. You say you was constantly criticized, but still appreciate the upbringing. Exactly. I mean, like my parents, the Pisces, the delusional one, and with the Scorpio moon, and my mother with the Cancer moon. Like when I just say it was very overwhelming and extreme in my household, and I just from this conversation alone, and what you just said, TT. I mean, Wendy. I appreciate my upbringing because the challenges made me so strong right now. I don't think I could go through anything I'm going through without all them things I learned as a child, even with the parents I had. And we're not close. We was never really close, unfortunately, but we're not close. But I still respect them, and even.
There's a card in the tarot deck called a magician.
Hmm.
And the magician has all these different things laid out. And people don't know they don't know at church when they do the Eucharist, which is the communion ritual, that's mimicking the magician card in the tarot deck.
Okay.
They're standing up there, they got all the elements. You got wine, which is the blood, you got the bread, which is the essence or spirit, also the somatic, the body, and you got a table to do your work on. And so the magician's secret is he is standing there contemplating how to use everything that has been laid out.
Mm.
Real magic is
The,
about
the
taking
place.
everything that has happened and figuring out how to make that something that serves your benefit. That's magic.
Hmm.
So we the part of the healing is we get past the point of something was done to me versus I was experiencing something so that I could get something that I'm trying to get.
Hmm.
You feel me? So, and I think from that perspective, it helps us be able to look and be like, what can I extract from them? You know, and to be able to separate the part of, you know, the effed up things.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna eat the fish, I'm gonna spit out the bones. And I think that's what that's the, you know, because I mean, I made my son cry this morning. I got so mad. So that's why I'm careful about, because I don't know what they're gonna have to say fucked up about me.
I think that a lot too about mine.
So I'm careful about that. I ain't gonna,
Yeah.
you know, look,
Yeah.
I sat and used to smoke boot goo gobs of weed in front of my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So that boy cannot, you know what I'm saying? I'm Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
I knew better, and I sat there and set a bad example for my nephew.
Mm.
I can't blame that on the baby boomers. This is what my generation, and I should not have been doing that because a child needs to be able to keep their innocence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need to be brought into the bullshit I was doing. And now here I know better, and I ain't doing it, but I was part of setting the standard for him to see that shit. And he's 5 years old running around, and that's on me. So that's what I'm saying. We got to get past this. We fucked up. We are fucked up.
Yes.
Independent of them, we are fucked up.
We don't have to do what our parents do, and they don't have to do what we do. But what you just mentioned, definitely my parents is doing. I've done similar things like you just mentioned too around younger people. These are the cycles I guess we're breaking. This is what we're releasing. You know,
But
like when we realize it.
but you got an excuse because somebody. But you know what? My parents didn't do that in front of me. I have no excuse.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So you
I don't
may
want
even say,
to.
well, that's what I seen coming up. But for me, I knew better.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I am responsible for some things that's fucked up.
Yeah. Me
And I'm
too.
saying we got to get to that point because being a god is removing the placement of blame on, and I'm not saying nobody doing that. I'm just saying if we really about being God,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
then we got to get to a point where we're not saying somebody did this and hurt me. Somebody did this and hurt me. Somebody did, and then
Yeah.
get to a point where it's just like, you know what? I'm fucked up all on my own. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Because now I got enough sense to do something about it. So I can't keep blaming because shit, I don't wear diapers no more. I don't wear pacifiers. I'm now responsible for my idiosyncrasies. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like I had to tell my son, I'm sorry, buddy. I was frustrated. I'm sorry for hollering at you. I love you. So at least
Right.
I can get this on the books where he can say, at least this crazy motherfucker, he'll snap, he'll come back and say, I'm sorry.
Right. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking. Oh, now I'm about to get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of us do this, I think, and some of us will eventually, hopefully. I feel like our generation is a little bit more uh, open to taking account, holding ourselves for accountable. I love to talk about how the baby boomers aren't, but I don't know what they're doing because I'm not their generation. They could be mentally holding themselves accountable if they're just not ready to bring it out. I don't know, but I think that a lot of us are coming to the realization that we don't want to be, our kids to look at us in a bad light, like we possibly me speaking on my own self have looked at my parents. Yeah. Okay. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to wrap this up? Everybody's quiet. Jamal
Mhm.
put a lot on our mind to think about and
Yeah,
digest. You want to say
yeah.
something?
No, I don't want to say that. I was just saying I agree. He definitely, yeah, did. He always did though.
Listen, when I
I
get
love it.
money up, I'm studying from Jamal Moore and I'm learning tarot from Wendy.
You
Jamal
teach
knows tarot
astrology?
too, huh?
You teach astrology, Jamal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start releasing some courses later
Hmm.
this summer.
Yes,
Okay.
as you should. You have a different perspective on the traditional astrology, I think, because I do a lot of mixing the basic characteristics, but you go deeper with it, and you also just tap into it, in a more broader way that Sagittarius rising way, that higher learning, because astrology's forever. The transit's always changing, the planets
Mm-hmm.
always moving, so it's always something to learn. Always something to learn. Baby boomers are the subjects of post-war psychology warfare. They are the Reconstruction era burst. But yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to hold myself accountable for the anger I be having, a lot for the baby boomers because of my past history with my parents. And I don't know what they went through. They don't know what I'm going through. So it's like a lost cause. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wasted energy. That's what I came to the conclusion
Yeah.
for myself. It's wasted. It's just meet them where they are, accept them for who it is, and
My father,
focus
he's a
on me.
Vietnam vet. My grandfather had my mother coming out of World War II. I don't know about my paternal grandfather. I guess it would have been the same time because they're both baby boomers, 46 and 48. But my father was a Vietnam vet, crazy ever since 19 when he went over there. So, I mean, I can't imagine. I've heard stories. I saw the trauma in our household, but I still don't know what he went through.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, y'all. After Mercury hour is the moon hour, and I'm always crying at the end of the damn live. Moon hour is after Mercury hour. So anyway, y'all, it is Jupiter Day on the East Coast, so I'm gonna wrap it up so us East Coastians can rest.
Yep.
Y'all Central Time people are coming up on Jupiter and Jupiter Day in 52 minutes. So again, I appreciate y'all, but I'm gonna close this live out for the
All
night.
right.
Yeah. Next
Good
week
night,
we'll
everyone.
have plenty more to focus on.
Okay. All right. Well, good night, everyone.
So,
Peace.
peace,
Peace.
y'all.
Peace.
Thank you, TT. Thank you, Wendy.